So, here at Gooch Sawmill, any of you who have been here before know that I welcome any questions that you have and am glad to give any information that I can. But one of the most commonly asked questions that I get isn't really related to building something or what type of wood to use or anything like that at all. It actually has to do with what is underneath me right now. People want to know what I do with all my sawdust. So I decided I would make a video to explain what happens with my waste products currently and what I'm planning on doing in the future and the measures that I've already taken to reduce the amount of waste that we produce here. So first thing we need to do is show you what I do with all the sawdust. So let's get started. I am making this video in March 2020, and at this time this sawdust is the biggest problem when it comes to the sawmill's waste products. The sawdust is incredibly fine and it blows away in the wind easily, so it cannot be used as mulch. This type of sawdust is, however, easily compressible and can be formed into some usable products. I have a few people every year who come and pick up a barrel or two to make mushroom logs, but the amount is incredibly small compared to what I produce. There is the potential for this sawdust to be made into biomass logs or wood pellets. This would involve me purchasing the equipment to manufacture these products, and then I would also need to build a dryer to dry the final product before it could be sold. My research has shown that I may be able to market the biomass logs here in Oklahoma, but I do not know whether I would be able to make enough profit for it to be worth my time. The pellets are a cheaper venture, but pellet stoves are not very popular in my area, and I do not think the market is big enough to make it worth it. So after I get the sawdust loaded up in the barrels and get it in the truck or on the trailer, got to go over to the other side of the farm. Sorry that the camera is jiggling around a little bit. My mount does not want to stay very solid. That's really bad. I don't think I'm going to use this footage. At the moment, the best option for the sawdust is to transport it to the other side of our farm to fill in what was an old silage pit. The pit was used as a trash pit for years and has always been an eyesore to me. As you can see, this is a very labor-intensive process. Even if I use the trailer, I have to dump every barrel by hand. So a couple of the waste products that are obviously produced from milling logs are the outside edge of the log and any of the small pieces trimmed off to square up boards or get rid of any bad spots that would make a board unappealing. What ends up happening is I bring them out here, out into the pasture, and they get put into a pile. Now I sort them out. What you can see here behind me, the bigger pile that is out here, is actually all eastern red cedar. A lot of people come and purchase that to build all kinds of things, from furniture to flower beds and the like. Now the other thing is that I sort out all of the hardwoods, which is this pile here. Now, right now we're coming into spring, we're at the end of winter, so the hardwood pile is always very small this time of year because most of the people that come and get that, they actually turn it into firewood and it gets reused and repurposed. I do sell both of these things by the truck or trailer load. All that people have to do is make an appointment and you can come and load up as much cedar and hardwood as you want. And that way I can reduce the amount of wood that just gets burnt or just sits and rots. My grandfather did not have the same problem with the sawdust that I have now. He used to pile all of the sawmill's waste, wood, sawdust, scraps, etc., in one massive pile that spanned this entire area. People would still come and get wood out of it for their projects, but a couple of times a year we would have to start a fire so big that I'm relatively sure that they could see it from the International Space Station. Now I only have to burn a small pile a couple of times a year that you can see right here on the left. So over the last few years, obviously I've made some changes to reduce the amount of waste, but that's obviously caused some other issues elsewhere. I do have an ulterior motive for making this video. I am actually making this video as an entry to win a Texas Pride dump trailer. They are giving away 3 dump trailers over the next few months, and I thought that I would put my name in the hat, so to speak, and see if I could get one. Basically, one of the things is I obviously need one of those. It would help save me trouble even just shoveling the sawdust into the dump trailer and then being able to go out and just dump it would save me some time, money, and effort, and in the long run would be nice. Now, I do actually have, as most people are probably going to ask, why aren't you using a dust ventilation system or a dust extractor or a dust fan or a dust vacuum or whatever you want to call it? And I do actually have one that's ready to be set up. It's sitting over here in the corner. The problem with that is well, where am I going to pump it to? I can use those barrels, but the problem is they don't exactly have a very flat top on them, and so you can't get a very good seal to be able to pump the sawdust into there. So that has been a logistical issue as well. On top of that, this would actually fill up one of those barrels relatively quick. The amount of sawdust that you saw on the floor and what I actually spent the time to get rid of is not very much. I have to do that a couple of times a week to be able to get rid of the debris that is produced here. Also in the video you kind of saw there were some large chunks of bark. The last order that I did was a semi-truckload of walnut, and the logs were rather old and the chunks were coming off. So I can't avoid that, but the dust fan, I can be able to hook that up if I have somewhere to pump it, and I have come up with a way to actually have a line up above in the top of the barn and have a flexible line that comes down and has a quick attach detach here, so that I can be able to still get in and out without any trouble. And that will actually help me out a lot in the long run. One, it will help keep down the amount of dust that's being blown around the sawmill while I'm operating it. Two, I'll be able to pump it out and around and into a dump trailer, which will again save me quite a bit of time and effort. But in the long run, so the other thing that the dump trailer would actually help me out with, as you noticed earlier in the video, that pile of cedar is rather large. I've had a lot of people coming out. As a matter of fact, while I've been filming this and putting all this together, I actually had a gentleman come out and load up some on a trailer. And that's great, except for that I'm producing more than what people are coming out to get. And that, of course, becomes a problem. I don't really want to burn it. There is a company not too far from here that would take it and grind it up to make cedar mulch. However, I have to transport it. And that's not exactly something that's easy to do on the flatbed or even the logging trailer that I have without worrying about a piece coming off and risking the chance of it damaging somebody's vehicle. So the dump trailer would be nice. It would be able to pick up out of that pile with the forklift, be able to dump it into the dump trailer, and be able to take a load on my way home on a regular basis and drop it off to them, and they'll grind it up and make it into cedar mulch. Or I can actually make money off of it if I get a grinder and grind it up into my own mulch and take it to them. They'll pay me by the pound or ton or whatever you want to call it. But of course I have to have a way to transport it. So in the end, I'm doing my best at trying to reduce the amount of waste that actually occurs in the grand scheme of things. I would love to be able to not have a pile that gets burned out there, but there's trash that I get every once in a while, and logs that end up with, anytime I find them that have any insects or rot or stuff like that. Obviously I can't make a rotten log into mulch, and it's not much use most of the time. But anyway, so Thank you very much for your consideration, and check out the links below. The couple of guys that have posted videos, I've put them in the links below. Check them out, check out their videos. If you think that you deserve a trailer, by all means, make a video, follow their instructions, and submit, and maybe you can be in the running for one as well. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.